Welcome, beautiful Paris Saint-Germain family. We're here after yesterday's victory over Tottenham Hottspurs in the UEFA Super Cup. Obviously, great relief and great feeling. Winning the trophy, 5 trophies, one more trophy, everyone, and we've won the 6-2. Finishing off, the great year that we had last year. Because yes, this is a new season, but that trophy's tied to what we did last season. Same with the Intercontinental Club in December. So we had to finish these off because I want to be part of that 6-2. Only 2 teams have done that. We would add into that list. And then let's see what we can do in the UCL in the upcoming season. Because as I've always said, I'm looking for a dynasty. Luis Enrique, we've given him so much power, so much money, because I want a dynasty. I want stability at this club. And I want us to, be extremely successful, both in France and in Europe. But yesterday's game, I don't know. I think the best explanation when you look at Paris Saint-Germain's performance is that we only had 6 days of training ahead of this game. I think that was a bit clear to see. Spurs, they've had 6 pre-season games going into this. They started training when we finished off our Club World Cup. When we were playing Chelsea, they were training. So they were much ready physically than Paris Saint-Germain in this game. But that's what I love with this team towards the end. They kept believing. They knew they were better than Spurs. They knew they could get this over the line, and they did manage to get it. It's a beautiful team spirit going into the season, being 2-0 down in a cup final. And then, remarkable comeback at the end. I mean, this reminds me of Atalanta, you could say a bit. Atalanta, Chelsea also a big comeback. But I don't know, I felt more Atalanta vibe from this game with Kangili and Gonzalo Ramos scoring from the bench. A bit like Choupo-Moting. Is Gonzalo. I mean, he's definitely better than Choupo-Moting. But yeah, Choupo-Moting got a huge goal versus Atalanta, and Gonzalo got one here. But I mean, overall, I'm not that mad about the performance. I would have been more mad, obviously, if we lost, then I would have been mad. But because we managed to win, I don't care. Because before the game, I didn't think that much that we only had 6 days of training because I always want to minimize the excuses. I want to go into the game thinking we can do our best. And that's what I did. But now going into the season, we have a bunch of easy Ligue 1 games at the moment, like against easy Ligue 1 opponents. That should be easy. We can rotate the squad a bit, training sessions, get up to rhythm because, the Champions League starts soon. The first game of the Champions League group stage will be played in like 1 month. So we have to start preparing for that game as Paris Saint-Germain supporters. And obviously, most importantly, Paris Saint-Germain players. But talking more about yesterday was, how can I say, a very Luis Enrique game. It was 2 risks. The first one was obviously, as we all know about, the dramatical departure of Gianluigi Donnarumma from Paris Saint-Germain and Chevalier coming in. So there was already so much pressure on Chevalier, and I saw every single time, like Chevalier something or something, they panned the camera to Luis Enrique. And especially when Lucas Chevalier made that mistake for the second goal, they panned the camera to Luis Enrique. Luis Enrique knew he was in the spotlight in that moment. Because that's all the reports I've been talking about. How are PSG letting go of Donna? Donna this, Donna that, Donna did that in the UCL. How are they letting go of him? So it was really bad. But we succeeded. We played 4 attackers. David actually said on the pod, he saw some report that Fabian was 100% fit. That could be true. But nevertheless, Luis Enrique opted to play 4 attackers in this game. Another risk, something he hasn't done in a big game. Obviously, the performance wasn't that good, but we managed to win. And that's what I like about Luis Enrique going into the season. I think he will take way more risks. When he first came in at PSG, he took a huge risk. We all remember the game at St. James Park when he played 4 attackers. Gonzalo Ramos, Randal Kourmani, Ousmane Dembélé, and Kylian Mbappé. It did not go well. The performance was bad and we lost the game. 4-1 versus Newcastle United. And since then, Luis Enrique sometimes say risks, but I would say more plays the safeguard. This season, though, I think we're going to see a lot of risks from Luis Enrique. Chevalier with his ball-playing ability that we haven't really seen yet. When Zabarni starts games as well, we have a more athletic, someone that can defend in space better than Marquinhos. I think Luis Enrique is going to continue to take risks because I believe, because like Phil said this on the pod, a Barca fan, he said that, you got to change. You can't just go into the season the same because teams will find gaps and holes in your game. And we've seen both Spurs and Chelsea play a bit similarly to PSG, which makes us not perform that well. But you could put in fatigue and so on. So I'm waiting until in the middle of the Champions League. Hopefully, we face a Premier League team who plays stylistically the same as Chelsea and Spurs, and then we can see if that's really causing us problems or it's other stuff. It's definitely causing us problems. I just don't know how much because of the collective performance, just fatigue wise and so on. But yeah, I mean, it feels great winning the Super Cup. It feels great going into the season. I mean, what a start! What a start! What a hectic 90 minutes plus penalties we had to go through to go into the 2025-2026 season. But I have really high expectations. I have really high hopes. And that comeback tells me the players got the same. Because it was 2-0. It's basically game over. And they made that happen. And I hope that's going to be the inspiration for the season. Who knows? Maybe we're going to be down in a Champions League game and we can look back at this game and be like, we did it in the UEFA Super Cup versus Spurs. We can do it versus Barca, versus Liverpool, versus Madrid, whoever it is. So I think we're going in with really strong confidence. Luis Enrique himself said that we're going to be stronger this season. Ashraf Hakimi said we're aiming to go back-to-back. And that's going to be the hashtag for the season. Back-to-back Paris Saint-Germain. A lot of other football fans definitely want to beat us. But some of them are already, how can I say, not rating us as much because of the Chelsea and the Spurs game. I mean, it came, at the end of the season with so many games played and so on. Wait in the Champions League. All right? Let's face Barca. Let's face Madrid. Let's face Arsenal. Let's face Chelsea. Whoever wants it, let's face you guys. And let's see how it goes. I'm not using it as an excuse. You beat us fair and square, Chelsea. So we just have to play again. I mean, Chelsea is the only team that has beaten us. Think about that. In 2025, we've beaten everyone. Liverpool, Arsenal, Aston Villa, Manchester City, Tottenham Hottspurs, 5 Premier League teams. Atletico Madrid, Inter Milan, Bayern München, Real Madrid. I mean, we've beaten every single one apart from Chelsea. So I can't wait for the Champions League season to continue so we continue this amazing. Chelsea we have to beat in a rematch, and FC Barcelona, who we haven't faced, I would absolutely love to demolish. Absolutely love. Probably rather in the knockout stages, but I would take them in the group just so he comes over easily. But yeah, no, I think the confidence after yesterday's game is great going into the season. And Spurs, not shout out to them, but I mean, they made the game really tough with the disgusting football that they were playing. And I think Spurs, as a club should still be proud of that. Yes, it was a huge battling there towards the end, but a really great performance versus Paris Saint-Germain. But I don't know if the same would have happened if this game was played, just a couple of weeks later. But I don't know what that sound is. But yeah, we're going into the season, as I mentioned, confident. I've seen a recent report. I will bring this up. I've already showed this before, but I mean, it dropped again, so we might as well react to it again. PSG transfer window is not over. The club is currently prioritizing departures as they seek to part ways with several players. Currently, the loft will have to leave the club. The management would like to double up all the positions in the squad, but at any price, as they want to sign quality players for reasonable transfer fees, according to Fabrice Hawkins and Arthur Perrett. And as you can see, focusing on departures, Renato Sanchez, Nordi Mukiele, probably Presnel Kimpembe, Marco Asensio. Still have a lot of players that we got to move on this summer, and it's good that we move on from them. We clear the wage book and just get rid of these players. Carlos Soler as well. A lot of these players will probably get loaned again, and then we'll see for the best. Colomani as well isn't finalized. We have so many players we got to try to get rid of, but we could see something happen. I don't want to give you guys faith. I don't want to give myself faith. But I know that PSG, I know that Luis Campos and Luis Enrique want to strengthen the squad. And just straight before this report, we got an update on the Kangeli stuff. Kangeli is attracting interest from the English clubs as they have reached out to gather information about his situation. PSG would only consider sending the player if they receive a big offer if the player was to leave the club with market find a replacement. And this is perfect. PSG's stance have been really clear. We don't want to sell Kangeli as long as not a big offer comes. And a potential big offer could come here, and it's the English clubs. They have the money. If we do get I think if we get around 60 million for Kang, I think they would sell. And then that 60 million will probably go to Magnus Achlios from Monaco, and we would just buy him up. So 16 days left of the transfer window. Stay imminent. I think more stuff will happen this summer transfer window. And yeah, feels great. That's been it from boy PS Gent. Hopefully, you guys have enjoyed this video. And as usual, allez, allez, c'est Paris.